Yes, indeed. Quite pricey it is. The games are wide open then. That's the motto for this year's Olympics. And in just a few minutes' time, that will be very much the case. So much to look forward to then over the coming fortnight. We will keep you right across it here on Sports Day and the BBC News Channel. And, of course, right across the BBC. Live coverage has already begun over on BBC One with the main ceremony scheduled to begin at 6:30. You can watch it all on the iPlayer and the BBC Sport website as well. But that is it from us here tonight on Sports Day. Enjoy the ceremony if you're watching, and thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
Live from London, this is BBC News. Olympics under attack, major travel disruption as France's rail network is sabotaged just hours before the opening ceremony, which begins later this hour. Engineers race to repair the damage as hundreds of thousands of passengers are impacted. 1 in 4 Eurostar services will be cancelled until Monday. We'll have the very latest. On alert, French PM Gabriel Attal vows to find and punish those responsible for targeting the rail network and says the public should be vigilant.
Maryam's in Paris and I'm live in London. I'm Steve Lai, also coming up on The World Today.
Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward.
Former US President Barack Obama endorses Kamala Harris in the race for the White House.
Hello, a very warm welcome to The World Today. I'm Maryam Moshiri, live from Paris, where excitement really is building because in the next few minutes, in about half an hour's time, we are going to see the start of the Paris Olympics opening ceremony. It gets underway in the next 30 minutes. Let's take a look now at some live pictures as people arrive, getting ready to take on the spectacle of the games. You can see there people arriving at the Eurostar terminal in the big queues, trying to get into their train to get to Paris, to get to the Olympic Games. Many of them, of course, as we know, the final build-up has been disrupted by arson attacks on France's high-speed rail lines, and work has been ongoing for those tracks. Well, France's Transport Minister condemned what's been described as coordinated malicious acts. Eurostar has cancelled a quarter of its services from London and asked passengers to postpone their journeys if possible. The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, had to change his travel plans and has flown to Paris rather than take the train so he can attend the opening ceremony, which will see thousands of athletes paraded by boat along the River Seine. OK, O'Brien, Grandison, it's good to talk to you and get your expertise. Thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy the show if you're watching the opening ceremony from where you are.
Thank you, and I shall be shortly after this.
OK, thank you very much. Now, still to come on The World Today. We'll speak to the president of the British Judo Association, a former Olympian, about what it means to take part in the Olympic Games. And we build up as spectators arrive to the opening of the Games in the next 15 minutes. Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News. Well, as we've been hearing, what's been dubbed the greatest show on earth gets underway on the River Seine in the heart of Paris in just over an hour's time. A flotilla will carry more than 10,000 athletes along a 6-kilometre route with 30,000 lucky spectators lining the banks. Our sports news correspondent Laura Scott reports now on the build-up for this evening's opening ceremony. Well, we're going to now take a short break on The World Today, but we will be back throughout the evening bringing you all the anticipated build-up to that opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. That's it from me in Paris for now.
Arson and cable attacks have hit France's railways hours before the start of the Olympics, casting a shadow on the build-up to the Games.
The conditions have been
This means so much to me. I'm looking forward to
Former
doing
U.S.
this
President
with the
Barack
two of
Obama
you. Doug and I
endorses
both.
Kamala Harris in the race for the White House. The leader of Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, one of the world's most powerful drug lords, is arrested in Texas. Hi there, I'm Steve Lai, and we will be back in Paris with Maryam for more on the Olympics in a bit. But in the meantime, we will get you up to speed with some events elsewhere. First, though, I do want to just take you back to Paris quickly for the opening ceremony, because it is now underway. Let's take a look at some live pictures on the streets of Paris as people take in the spectacle of the Games. We do know that 300,000 fans are expected to line the river and watch the ceremony. Now that is much more than you can imagine that would be able to watch in a more traditional indoor venue like the London Stadium during the 2012 Olympics, for example. We'll be checking in with Maryam a bit later on. But let's get on with some other news from around the world now. We'll start with the United States, where former President Barack Obama has endorsed the Vice President Kamala Harris in the race for the White House. In a phone call, Mr. Obama and his wife Michelle said they would do everything to get her into the Oval Office. Still to come on The World Today. If you feel you've been paying too much at the petrol station lately, you could be right. Those details ahead. And if you're open to new words and phrases to spice up your conversations, more than 3,000 have been added to the Cambridge Dictionary this year. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. Now we've got some images to bring you of the meeting between former President Donald Trump and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. This is when they met earlier at Mar-a-Lago for a face-to-face meeting. That's Donald Trump's residence in Florida. And Mr. Netanyahu, who was in the United States to address Congress yesterday and meet with President Biden, is also meeting with the former President Donald Trump. All right, well, yes, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks so much, Emma, for coming in and helping me understand these new words. Emma McCarthy there. Now, before we go to break, let's take you back to Paris and show you some images. We do know that we have seen President Emmanuel Macron as being part of the opening ceremony. And I'm trying to make out what I can see. Oh, it's Lady Gaga. Yeah, very nice. And there is Mr. Emmanuel Macron as well, all present at the opening ceremony. We'll be back there shortly speaking with Maryam Moshiri, and she's got a lot more coverage right from Paris. I do look forward to that. So do stay with us right here on BBC News. We will be right here for you throughout the night.
Live from Paris, this is BBC News. Let the Games begin. An Olympic regatta along the River Seine as the opening ceremony of the Paris Games gets underway with a procession of boats with thousands of athletes on board and a performance from Lady Gaga. Olympics under attack, major travel disruption as France's rail network is sabotaged just hours before the opening ceremony began, delaying visitors and VIPs. These are live pictures of engineers racing to repair the damage as thousands are impacted. 1 in 4 Eurostar services will be cancelled until Monday. We'll have the very latest travel information.
Live from London, I'm Steve Lai. Also coming up on The World Today. A warm welcome. Donald Trump greets Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as the two leaders meet for talks in Florida.
Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward
And a presidential
to
seal of approval. Barack Obama endorses Kamala Harris in the race for the White House.
Hello everyone, a very warm welcome from gorgeous Paris. It's a huge day today, and at the moment behind me, somewhere in the heart of this beautiful city of love, the Paris Olympics is finally getting underway. The opening ceremony kicked off in the last 30 minutes. It's meant to be special and different, taking place in the city itself rather than in a stadium, with thousands of athletes paraded by boat along the River Seine, and it really has been special. Have a look at some of these still shots that we can bring you now on BBC News. First of all, at the very beginning, there was a huge explosion of colourful dust to form the French flag on one of the most historic bridges running along the Seine. It was beautiful. After that, we then saw music. We saw Lady Gaga, no less, singing in French and playing the piano. Lots of pink, fluffy feathers, just what you want for a Friday evening. And then finally, another thing you may want for a Friday evening, I don't know, President Macron, he was there. He was there watching, looking very happy, and so he should be. The show so far has been absolutely amazing. Yeah, that's going to be so exciting. Afia, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for sharing your memories with us here on BBC News. Well, we'll bring you more inane chat, Natalie and I, about the opening ceremony in a few minutes' time. But around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. Welcome back to Paris. It's a beautiful evening here. It has started drizzling. I don't know, what do we call it these days? I don't know. I'm here with Natalie Perks, our sports correspondent and presenter, who has been my constant companion through the last half an hour. You poor thing. No, it's been fine. Thank goodness you're here, right?
Well,
because you know all about what's happening, the sport, the opening ceremony. I'm just watching it on my screen here. We're lucky enough to be able to see it, but we don't have the rights for you to watch it. But we can have the pleasure of letting you know that we saw many athletes on these small boats, big boats, sailing along the Seine.
So something special, something spectacular. They're trying to sort of subvert all the general rules of opening ceremony. So we're going to see something special.
Fantastic. Natalie Perks, good to have you on the show. Thank you very much. So that is the build up to the end of the ceremony. Stay with us on BBC News. Coming up soon is Steve.
This is BBC News, the headlines. An Olympic regatta along the River Seine. Spectators gather as the opening ceremony of the Paris Games gets underway, with a procession of boats with thousands of athletes on board and a performance from Lady Gaga. The search is underway to find the people responsible for a sabotage on France's rail network just hours before the opening ceremony. And in other news, Donald Trump meets Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for talks at the former president's Florida home. Let's start in the United States, where former President Barack Obama has endorsed the Vice President Kamala Harris in the race for the White House. In a phone call, Mr. Obama and his wife Michelle said they would do everything to get her into the Oval Office. Still to come on The World Today. If you feel you've been paying too much at the petrol station lately, you could be right. Those details ahead. And if you're open to new words and phrases to spice up your conversations, more than 3,000 have been added to the Cambridge Dictionary this year. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. New satellite images analysed by the BBC have revealed the extent of the humanitarian crisis unfolding in the north of Ethiopia. Severe drought, a crop failure and the aftermath of war have led aid agencies to warn that more than 2 million people are now at risk of starvation. Here's BBC Verify's Merlin Thomas. Always great to talk to Emma McCarthy. If you want to look for more words, you can also find them on our website, bbc.com. We've got a whole article about them there. You're watching BBC News. Now, a man who claimed his slapping therapy classes could treat people with everything from heart disease to diabetes has been found guilty of gross negligence manslaughter. Hong Shi-shu was convicted over the death of 71-year-old Danielle Cargom. from Sussex after she attended one of his workshops. This report from Duncan Kennedy in Winchester Crown Court contains scenes at the slapping workshops. Now, we do have more images and colour from the Olympic Games on our website. There is a live page running at the moment. You can catch up with all of it there. We do know that it has been raining during the opening ceremony. It hasn't dampened spirits too much. People still staying along to watch as the opening ceremony keeps going. You can see all of the spectators along the River Seine, 300,000 of them gathering for the opening ceremony, the first of its kind that is not taking place in a stadium. And these images coming to you from Paris.
Hello again. Scotland and Northern Ireland saw quite a few showers